Hello there, we are reviewing Sword Art Online Aincrad Volume 1, the light novel that, read the novel that started the phenomenon. And before we begin, first off I want to say for future manga, comic books, light novels, or just books that have like a lot of entries in the series, like a Goosebumps type shit, series of unfortunate events. This is basically how I'm gonna review them because since this is the first of its kind, I thought about just doing a review on the main channel for this, but then there's like 18 others of these, and I don't want that shit to clog up my main channel. So that's the best way. Before we begin, I want to say I have seen the anime, and I was also reading this at work, and there was this image right here that I'm pretty sure my boss and or coworkers saw, so thank you for that, Sword Art Online. Thank you. And I assume most people who are watching this have seen the show, because not many people have actually read the light novels. And the show is very fucking popular. I think Sword Art Online was the right show with the right idea in the right place, and I think that's like its success. It was the right show that came out at the right time. It had the right ideas. It had the right premise, but the thing that makes a lot of people hate it is because the story, character development, and all that shit is really lacking compared to that. And the books almost don't make as much sense as that. We have the first two novels here, which I actually did buy at Walmart because most of the manga I'm gonna read is probably gonna be online. But I was like, can I read light novels online? And I felt obligated to buy something, so I just bought these. But the first one is basically all the if you've seen Sword Art Online, if you haven't seen it, it's basically I'm just quick summary. I very much doubt there's many of you, but for those who haven't seen it, it's basically it's a story about people who get trapped in a video game. They're stuck there, and they gotta leave. Otherwise, they're basically stuck there. And if they die for realsies. And there's 100. It's a big MMO game. There's 100 floors. They gotta get past them all. There's not many of you who haven't heard about it, I assume. But in the books, it makes even less sense because the first book is all the important shit that was in the show. There's all the relationship stuff. There's the very critical moments of the story. There's the big finish. The ending of the show is in book 1. And then he was like, oh, I don't know how to make a sequel properly. Let's just do a bunch of side stories for the second one, and then throw in some other random shit that the main characters will randomly forget about and not mention in this one. And I in the afterward section, he basically, he didn't defend himself. He's just saying like, the story, and it's like, this was my first book. I kind of just wrote it for a contest, and it exceeded the amount, so I was like, fuck it, and it became like it became his pet project, as he said. And as a person who's also kind of written a book that was way too long, and the main character was kind of a douchey teenager who had like this very teenage romance that got blown out of proportion. Like, I feel you. I'm not like, although I don't really like SAO, like when I first saw it, I was like, this is pretty good, I guess. And I think I've since rewatched a couple episodes, I'm just like, I can't do this. And when SAO 2 rolled around, I was like, ugh, because I really just don't, in the end, I really just don't like characters. Even Kirito, his design, I hate how he just looks like your typical main male character, and that he sulks and he's a loner, but he doesn't have specific reasons why he's like that. He's just, oh, I just am sad. Like, he needs a reason. And these are just complaints in general. And a lot of that is here, but now it's in first person, and I'm not, you know, we do have this cover art. I'm not picturing that. I'm picturing 3D people, because that's how I read books. And I enjoy that. I enjoy not imagining Kirito and imagining everything differently. And, you know, because when books, you can go apeshit in your mind with what's happening on paper. Most of the times, you're just trying to get through it. And if I'm being honest, but when you want to make things look pretty, you can make stuff look pretty. And then the first book, you know, it's all the important shit from SAO, the main big story problems that are known for being there are here. The romance is fuck all. The world itself kind of just like what it goes with the rules however it wants. There's the big fuck all, I don't care about the rules. Like Kirito's the badass you think he is, that he can't be beaten. Fuck the system. He's the coolest fucking guy ever because he's a 14-year-old kid who wears black and he is sad, so he's better than you. Everyone else is insignificant. Everyone else doesn't try as hard as him, even though he isn't like doing this like, I don't know. I'm not gonna go into it. If I ever review SAO, the show, that'll be where I get all of these major complaints. This is more of a just kind of how I thought of reading the light novel, and I guess I'm gonna read the second one also, just for shiggles. And basically, if you like the show, then you'll like this. If this is if you want to try, if you're wondering what to go into first, maybe this. What wanted me to read this was a lot of people were like, oh, the light novels are so. It's the same thing. It is literally the same thing, only the story progress is even more shoddy. And not in the sense that, like, from a person who has made stories and then made side stories within that story and it kind of just got all over the place. Like, I get it. And with books, it's a little bit easier. Because, you know, there isn't all these budgets and shit being like, what do we do? Where do we go with this? Like, it's a little more just, oh, this is how the story is going to progress. And it's a little bit easier on that sense. But at the same time, there's still this relationship that happens really quickly between Asuna and Kirito. I'm not going to spoil it, but if you know what I'm talking about, it happens very quick. It happens even quicker. It's literally, like, to put in perspective for people who've seen the show, it's literally like, oh, we have to get to all 100 floors and then we'll be done. But it's literally like, okay, now we're here, but now we're on floor 50. And now we're on floor 75, like, and now it's all fucking over. Like, it really is just all over the place. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I'm saying that can work, but I'm saying it doesn't here. As far as, you know, the other, like, basically Asuna, Kirito, Heathcliff, Clyde, the big buff black ball dude, Eigel, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Eigel, those are the only characters. And there's also a fisherman, who's basically, that's his character, he's a fisherman. And there's a couple of things, like, in the show, like, people say, why did the bad guy do, what was his motive? His motive, like, if you understand his character, like, which you get a little bit more in here, like, it makes sense, like that's just his character. Like, I don't see why there's like this big thing surrounding that. Or if you're just like, if you're trying to get into Kirito's head a little bit and kind of see it a little bit more, that kind of works better. But at the same time, you have to hear how much he fucking loves Asuna. And it's just like, oh my god, I mean, it gets really tweenage romancy, and I'm not if like SAO like for me was like when it was like one of the earlier shows. Like I'm in the same boat a lot of people are, where I watch my childhood anime, and then there's like this new age anime boom, and I kind of caught the wave on that, and SAO was a part of that, like it or not. And you know, for some people, like maybe that's nostalgic. I'm nostalgic to being in that zone, watching shows like that on Netflix, like Soul Eater. But I don't think I have any attachment to SAO in the terms of like its story, except maybe some moments. I'm like, oh, that's a feel good moment. And like at the end of this book, it's a feel good moment. And yeah, I think as far as Volume One, that's all I have to say about that. You know, um, uh, there's the big ending, which was really heartfelt, and it's a little bit like confusing. Like even he was like, I don't know where to go after that ending, but fuck it, like. But at the same time, I've been in the same scenario where I wrote some and I stay true to it, but then I'm like, oh, where do I go from here? So it's like I understand the guy, but that doesn't make the story any better. And I'm here to talk about the fucking story and the experience, because that's my job. And you know, if I wrote this book, I'd feel proud as fuck. You know, I don't like it, but I'd be like, fuck it. You know, I'm proud. So that sums up Volume One. I want to read his whatever, like, cause basically what happened was his first like published story came out, and then he showed him SAO, and that's what got popular. So I want to read whatever the first published thing that Reki Kawahara got out there, and that's what opened the door for SAO. With that being said, I'll check this out now, and then hopefully also review that. Thank you guys for watching. You are the best. And yeah, with that, I leave you.